Hello, everybody. Happy Friday. Welcome to Maddie's Nutrition Mailbag at 12:30. Today's topics are the question of the day is nighttime snacking okay? And the topic of the day is all about fiber. So you might know what fiber is, you might know kind of the basics of it, where you get it from, but I have some information that you might not know about fiber. We know that it's a good nutrient for us, but sometimes we don't know all the good things that it can do for us. Some things are obvious, some things are actually quite interesting. Even though we don't digest or absorb fiber, it doesn't mean it doesn't play a huge role in our body and helping to regulate certain things. So I'm gonna let's see. I'm gonna wait another minute. Um, if you're watching now, please comment below and say hi. Comment your nutrition questions. Comment your email if you want me to add you to my newsletter. I send that out every Wednesday with different recipes, tips, tricks, information. I hope everybody is enjoying the beautiful weather today. I haven't been outside yet, but I hope to get outside. I'm loving the warm weather. Okay. So the first topic of the question of the day is nighttime snacking okay? So there's a lot of information out there that says that or has a bad connotation in reference to nighttime snacking. There's that food rule that's out there that says that, you shouldn't be snacking after 7 o'clock. I don't really know who made that up, but let's get into it. Firstly, eating after 7 o'clock is perfectly fine. Calories don't automatically increase at night, and your body doesn't absorb them differently than if it was at 7 a.m. versus 7 p.m. So the food rule to not eat after a certain time at night or to eat your smallest meal at night is a myth. As always, your internal cues are way more important than those external cues. And when I say external cues, I mean those food rules that you hear from different diets or different people or books or whatever that kind of tell you how much to eat, when to eat, what to eat. Um, those are external cues. Your internal cues, your cravings, your hunger, your fullness cues are way more important than any of those. So if you're, don't deny yourself from food if you're hungry at 7, 8, 9 o'clock at night. However, with nighttime eating, that's often when people find themselves doing the non-hunger eating or due to non-physical triggers. So this is like the emotional eating, the boredom eating, the stress eating. Nothing to be ashamed of. Every single human being does it, but we're going to talk about some tips and tricks to identifying when you are doing that non-physical eating and to distinguish physical hunger versus the non-physical reasons for eating. So the first thing that I want you to think about, if you do notice that you're doing a lot of nighttime eating, like after dinner snacking or whatever it may be, before you label it as that, emotional stress or boredom eating, check your nutrition first. If it's 7, 8, 9 o'clock at night and you find yourself snacking after dinner, before you label it as, emotional eating, ask yourself, are you getting enough nutrition? Are you eating and drinking enough throughout the day? Are you restricting certain food groups? Are you getting enough fiber? And are you getting enough sleep? I think sleep is so important in, your hunger and satiety as well. Nighttime snacking might be your body's way of compensating for, skipping meals during the day, if you skip breakfast or lunch or whatever, or just general inadequate nutrition and hydration during the day. So before you label it as emotional eating, check your nutrition, because your body might just be not getting enough nutrition during the day, and therefore, it's kind of making up for it at night, which makes sense. If you're snacking as a nighttime habit and it's due to actual, you notice that it's due to actual emotional boredom or stress triggers, again, nothing to be ashamed of. We all do it sometimes, but it's not a good habit to get into. So this is like the emotional side, the non-physical hunger side of eating. So this might be like you have a stressful day at work, or at night you're kind of unsure of what to do with yourself. We can keep ourselves rather busy during the day, but maybe at night, that's when certain emotions or feelings might crop up, and we might use food as comfort, which we all do it. Again, nothing to be ashamed of, but not the healthiest habit, not a healthy habit to do regularly. So, what to do about that if you notice that you're doing that emotional eating a lot? You need to create new habits that support whatever your goals are, whatever your wellness goals are. Usually, sheer willpower probably won't do it. Sheer willpower, if you feel crummy enough about your habits, willpower will fuel you for a short while, but then after that, it's going to kind of wear off. So you need to actually create new habits and change your old habits. So hey Denise, thanks for joining. I can always count on you for joining. um, so you need to either reduce or remove those triggers that are causing that emotional boredom stress eating. So say you're doing the stress eating, you get home from a stressful day at work, and I go like this automatically, like maybe your shoulders are really tense. Work on some ways to get some stress reduction in, however that looks like for you. So some suggestions like some meditation, some deep breathing, some yoga practice, going on a walk. If you're finding that you're really emotional at night, whether it be whatever emotion that you're feeling, talking to somebody, calling up a loved one on the phone, that can go a long way. Journaling, taking a walk. If you're finding that you're bored at night, or you're doing the boredom or mindless eating, create a list of, you can even look them up, create a list of non-food related activities that can help you fight boredom. Like, that sound fun. It could be doing a puzzle, it could be knitting, it could be, um, you know, journaling, reading, whatever sounds fun to you, to kind of combat that feeling of boredom where you feel like you don't have anything else to do, so you just kind of snack. Um, so if sitting down on the couch and turning on the TV when you get home from work is a trigger, like if you notice that when you sit down on the couch and turn on the TV, that triggers, oh, I want a snack, then you got to adjust that trigger. So watch TV in a different room even might help, or do something else with your hands while you're watching TV, fold laundry. That doesn't sound that fun. Knit or paint your nails, or instead read a book, do a puzzle, have tea. Change that trigger. Change that actual physical thing of sitting on the couch and turning on the TV. You got to change that. Um, if you do just decide that you want to have a snack, you want to satisfy those cravings, that's perfectly fine. What I would recommend is that you portion it out so you're not eating out of the bag, because it's so easy to just kind of get lost when you're doing that. Portion it out into a bowl, plate, cup, whatever, and enjoy that. Eat it mindfully. So with that's basically means without distraction and with intention. So without distraction of the TV or your phone or your computer or book or whatever, actually pay attention and enjoy that food. Um, I always say, like, if you're eating a couple pieces of chocolate mindfully, it's going to be a lot more enjoyable than if you're eating like the whole chocolate bar or the whole bag of chocolate chips mindlessly. So there's nothing wrong with actually satisfying a craving if you're feeling snacky, but portion it out, enjoy it, and eat it mindfully. If you're getting home from work, and that's a trigger to snack, like the minute you get home from work and you want to have, or wherever, and you want to have a snack, maybe it's like 4 or 5 o'clock, ask yourself, check in with the physical hunger. Ask yourself if you actually need like a nourishing mini meal or a full meal instead that has, good protein, carbohydrates, fiber, healthy fats. If you're physically hungry, then make sure you're having a nourishing either snack to hold you over until dinner, or you're having a nourishing meal. If you're doing that emotional snacking where you're not physically hungry, when you get home from work, change that trigger. Go on a walk, get outside, exercise, have that list of activities to do other than snacking. I say to make sure that you're adequately nourished, if you're physically hungry and you decide to have a snack or a meal, the the basic rules to go by, to make sure that you're getting enough nutrients in, is having at least 3 food groups at your meals and at least 2 food groups at your snacks. So like food groups are like your dairy, fruit, vegetable, grains, and proteins. So at least 3 at meals, at least 2 at snacks. And try to do that with your meals and snacks throughout the day. I have this 3-question kind of practice. I like to call it an intuitive eating practice, but I think it's good for distinguishing between physical hunger and emotional eating. So the first question that you ask yourself is, how am I feeling mentally and emotionally? This is where you note, you can even write it down. You can start a journal with this, which I think is can be really helpful. How do I feel emotionally, mentally or emotionally? So this could be like you're stressed, you're bored, you're lonely, you're sad, you're anxious, celebratory maybe. It doesn't have to be negative. And then, so you note that. And then you note, question number 2, how do I feel physically? Am I tired? Am I thirsty? Am I hungry? And then you note on a scale of 1 to 10 how hungry you are. So 1 being stuffed, 5 being neutral, and 10 being like you're famished. If you're somewhere between a 6 and a 10, you're getting up there in terms of hunger, then you know that your body physically is asking for some sort of nourishment. If you're somewhere between a 1 and a 5, full and neutral, you know that your body isn't really asking for anything else, any food. So just kind of make note of that. And then the third question, will eating this satisfy me? Yes or no? So even if you are between a 1 and a 5, not all that physically hungry, but eating that food will satisfy you, you're craving it, it would taste really good, then portion it out, eat it mindfully, enjoy it, and then move on. If you notice when you answered question number 1, how am I feeling emotionally, mentally? If you are anxious, ask yourself, if you're anxious and you're not physically hungry, ask yourself if having this food is really going to satisfy that anxious feeling. Or is there something else that your body's asking for that you can do for yourself to kind of help, cope with that anxiety? Because food might numb it or comfort it for a short while, but you're really not dealing with the root of what that feeling is, which is the anxiety. So that's the long answer to, is nighttime snacking okay? If you're physically hungry, yes, it's okay. If you're doing emotional boredom, stress eating at night, then it's probably not a healthy habit to get into. And those are some ways to kind of notice it and to work on changing that habit. The topic of the day is all about fiber. So what is fiber? It's a type of carbohydrate. It can't be broken down or digested by the body, so it just passes through the GI tract and is excreted. Uh, but just because we don't digest it or absorb the carbohydrates in fiber, that doesn't mean that it doesn't have amazing benefits for us. Um, Fiber is only found in plant foods. It's not in any animal foods. It's not in meat. It's not in poultry. It's not in fish. Not in dairy, eggs, milk, or cheese. Only in plant foods. So that's like your whole grains. So your whole wheat breads, whole grain crackers, oatmeal, popcorn, barley, quinoa, all those whole grain, brown rice. It's also found in fruits and vegetables, nuts, seeds, beans, and lentils. So I say it's found in whole grains. It's not found in refined grains. So that's because say you have a kernel of brown rice versus a kernel of white rice. So the brown rice is your whole grain, the white rice is your refined grain. The white rice isn't bad, but it has the outer bran that's on brown rice stripped off of it, and that outer bran contributes the fiber. So that's why brown rice is giving you fiber, white rice is not. Same with other, whole grains, like a whole grain piece of wheat versus a refined wheat. Um, so why do we need fiber? It helps with your gastrointestinal health. So fibers help to give us regular bowel movements. So it helps with reduce constipation and diarrhea. Just helps you kind of regulate your bowel movements. That's kind of the obvious one, but it does so many other things. So certain fibers are fermentable. So these are called prebiotic fibers, and I talk a little bit about pre and probiotics. I think I talked about it in my last video. Um, so fermentable fibers, aka prebiotics, help us to feed the good gut bacteria that we have in our mostly our intestines. These are important for helping to digest foods, to synthesize certain vitamins, and help with immunity. Since 80% of our immune cells are in the gut, it's important to have healthy gut bacteria there to support it. We create a lot of serotonin, that happy hormone, in our gut as well. So having healthy gut bacteria is really important, and that prebiotic fiber is going to help feed that bacteria and keep it alive. So those prebiotic fibers are found in bananas, blueberries, onions, leeks, garlic, artichoke, asparagus, and whole grains as well. Fiber helps to fill you up by delaying the emptying of food from our stomach into our large intestine. It also helps to slow the digestion of macronutrients, so your protein, your carbohydrates, and your fat. Because fiber helps to slow the breakdown and absorption of carbohydrates, this helps slow the release of sugar into your bloodstream. So this results in more of a steady blood sugar spike raise rather than a sharp spike when you're having refined carbohydrates or simple sugars. So this helps for blood glycemic control, and just more sustainable energy. It's going to give you, fiber is going to help give you longer term energy. Hi, Lisa. So like I said, it helps to fill you up. So like 1 cup of brown rice, it's likely going to fill you up a lot more than 1 cup of white rice. So you may need less of that brown rice than you would to fill you up than you would white rice. So fiber helps with portion control too. And the last thing that it helps with too is really important. It helps to lower cholesterol. It helps, and more specifically that bad cholesterol, your LDL cholesterol. Fiber, as it's moving through your GI tract, traps LDL cholesterol in the stool and eliminates it along with the fiber. So it helps to lower cholesterol and supports healthy cholesterol levels. How much do we need? Most of us don't get enough fiber. It's pretty difficult. So I would recommend, maybe for 1 or 2 days, you try to keep track of the amount of fiber that you're having, or like kind of estimating, check out the fiber on the nutrition facts label. Um, Women need 25 grams a day and men need 38 grams. So men need significantly more. Um, if you're somebody who's doing like a low carbohydrate, a keto diet, um, carnivorous diet, even the Whole30, you run the risk of reduced fiber intake because it's cutting out. Whole30 cuts out grains. Low carb and low keto cuts out a lot of those plant foods which have the fiber. So something to think about. Some tips for increasing your fiber intake. Something to note is that you should be doing it if you decide that you want to increase your fiber intake, maybe for a couple days you're measuring your fiber intake and you realize that you're not getting enough and you want to increase it. You want to do this slowly. I'm just going to pause here to answer this question. Denise, does instant brown rice have the same benefit as regular brown rice? Yes, it does. So instant brown rice still has the fiber. It's still a whole grain. It's just the way that it's prepared. I think that it's cooked and then dehydrated and then packaged so that it just cooks. It's quicker to prepare, but it has the same. I think a lot of brown rice, instant brown rice packages, they don't have any, added ingredients or anything. It's still brown rice, so still counts. Lisa has a question. Do both soluble and insoluble fiber help reduce LDL? So the thoughts around soluble and insoluble fiber are kind of changing, and they're kind of changing the way that they categorize fiber, um, because there's a lot of sort of overlap if you just look at insoluble versus soluble. So the general recommendation is that if you're having enough um, fruits and vegetables, you're having enough whole grains, you're getting enough of different kinds of fiber, and those are that because certain foods might have both soluble and insoluble fiber in them. So it's not black and white in terms of like foods that are insoluble, foods that are soluble. I believe, however, that the insoluble fiber is the one that is more helpful in reducing LDL cholesterol. But I'm going to have to look that up for you and let you know because I'm not 100% sure. The sort of categorization of fiber is changing a little bit. So something that I'm going to have to check back and let you know, Lisa. So as you increase your fiber intake, if that's something that you decide that you want to do it slowly, and do it and make sure that you're drinking enough water as you're doing it. At least 8 cups a day, at least 64 ounces. This is just to reduce your chances of constipation as you increase fiber in your diet. Some ways to make some swaps to get some more fiber in. Choosing whole grains like I talked about. So choosing your whole wheat breads, whole grain crackers, oatmeal, whole grain cereal or bran cereal, whole wheat pitas, whole wheat tortillas, whole wheat pastas, brown rice, quinoa. Multi-grain, the label multi-grain doesn't always mean whole grain. Same with just the word wheat, doesn't always mean whole wheat. So you might see bread that says like honey wheat. That doesn't mean, that only means that the bread is made with wheat, which most bread is. So it can be a little bit deceiving. Look for whole wheat, look for whole grain. When you look on the ingredients list, look for 100% whole, whether it's wheat or grain, whatever it is. Look for just do a little bit more research into that because just saying wheat or just saying multigrain doesn't necessarily mean it's a whole grain product. The recommendation for whole grains is to try to make at least half of your grains that you're eating whole grains. So whether that's switching from your regular pasta to your whole wheat pasta, whether that's choosing oatmeal instead of, plain Cheerios, or choosing brown rice instead of white rice, or mixing brown rice in with your white rice. Another option that I really like too to get some more fiber in is I really like doing bean-based pastas or lentil pasta. These give you a little bit more fiber and some protein because they're made of like some chickpeas or lentils. There's black bean pasta, things like that. I really like the Banza brand. Those are good. Another way that you can do it is, or you can increase your fiber is try like a meatless Monday, or try your typical your favorite meat-based dish and try to make it plant-based. Again, plants are the only source of fiber. They're not in animal products, so you can do like a lentil sloppy joes. If you want the recipe, you can message me. I have a recipe for that. I think I might have also posted that in this group at one point as well. Lentil sloppy joes. Swap out your meat products for tempeh or for tofu or beans. Do veggie burgers instead of hamburgers. Try a black bean chili. Um, on summer During the summer, I like to do like a pasta salad with beans in it, or like a like a tri bean salad. Um, if you go to meatlessmonday.com, there are thousands, I think, of just plant-based recipes. So that's one way that you can get some more fiber in. And then trying to add some sort of fruit or vegetable into each meal can help as well. Adding nuts or seeds into foods, so like topping your oatmeal or smoothies with some peanut butter, adding nuts or seeds to your yogurt or to a salad, snacking on trail mix. Chia seeds and flax seeds are a great source of fiber as well. Adding that to your yogurt or oatmeal. You can make a chia seed pudding. Um, yeah, so those are my ideas. I have a list of like different swaps that you can do too. So like if you're having cornflakes, swap that out for oatmeal. Or if you're having apple juice, have an apple instead. Because if you're having fruit or vegetable juice, um, even if it's 100% juice um, and all natural, you're still taking the fiber away when you're converting it to a juice. So you're not getting the good fiber that you would if you were having a whole piece of fruit. Um, if you're having rice, switch to brown rice or quinoa or barley. If you're doing a pasta salad, you can just add a bunch of different vegetables to it, or you can swap your pasta to like a protein pasta or a whole wheat pasta. If you're doing frozen yogurt or ice cream, top that with berries, great source of fiber, or nuts, a little bit of peanut butter even. So that's my spiel for today. Um, If anybody else has any questions, comment them below. You're welcome to add your email. I will add you to my nutrition newsletter list. Message me on Facebook with any questions, any comments, any topics that you want me to cover. I'm here for you. And I will see you back here on June 19th at 12:30 for another Maddie's Nutrition Mailbag. Have a great weekend, everybody.